This happened in the summer of 2021 when I was 27 and doing freelance DJ work in LA. I'd move out west the year before to try and turn my music hobby into a real job. I wasn't famous, no manager, just someone who took whatever gigs he could. Clubs, pop-ups, house parties, some were legit, some were sketchy. This one was both. The night started like a dream, $800 cash to DJ at a mansion in Beverly Hills. No promo, no flyers, just a DM from a guy named Rick who said he'd gotten my name through the right people. I didn't know what that meant. I needed the money and I'd spun for worse. When I arrived, the place looked like a movie set. All glass walls, a saltwater pool, glowing neon blue, and circular driveway full of black Escalades. There were maybe 50 people already there, all dressed like they were waiting to be photographed. Expensive cologne, tall girls with glittered collarbones, guys who never blinked. I set up on the patio. The view was unreal. LA spread out before us like a circuit board. I started playing mellow house tracks, nothing too heavy. About 30 minutes in, I started to feel off, like I wasn't quite there. Not high, not drunk, just fuzzy. I remember watching the pool water ripple and feeling like it was breathing. That's when everything changed. People suddenly got quiet. The crowd split down the middle like someone had walked through them. That's when I saw him. P. Diddy. He stepped out from the house wearing all white blazer, white pants, no shoes, just gliding barefoot across the tile. No one shouted, no one asked for a selfie. It was like they already knew the rules. He didn't speak, didn't smile. He just stood near the edge of the pool and looked at me and nodded. I nodded back, pretending I wasn't terrified. I couldn't explain why, but it felt like we'd met before, like he already knew me. Few minutes later, the vibe of the party completely flipped. People moved slower, the air felt thicker, the music sounded warped even though I hadn't touched the mixer. I thought I was having a panic attack. Then I noticed the smell. Sweet, greasy, like baby oil. I thought someone had spilled something near the booth, but then I noticed it was on the ground, everywhere, oily footprints on the stone patio, on the lounge chairs, even smeared on the glass doors leading into the house. It was subtle, like someone had walked around coated in it. A girl I'd seen earlier, thin brunette, way too quiet, approached me near the turntables. She leaned in and whispered,
"Don't follow the..."
She leaned in and whispered,
"Don't follow anyone upstairs, just play, don't stop."
I tried to ask her what she meant, but she was gone. I needed to get out of there. I started pretending I had technical issues with my setup while fiddling with the cables. I noticed something even more bizarre. There were multiple people who looked like P. Diddy at the party. I counted 3. One talking to a couple by the hot tub, another just staring into the distance, and the one by the pool still looking at me. None of them blinked. Eventually I went inside to find Rick, the guy who hired me, and let him know I was bouncing early. The house was dead silent except for this fainting, whispering echo, like distant chanting. I followed it down the hall and froze when I felt a cold touch on my butt. P. Diddy put his fingers in my butt. That was my first thought. His hand was in me, but I turned. No one was there, just a thin, wet handprint on my arse. I sprinted out the house without grabbing cables, drove away with my gear still set up in the backyard. I was shaking so bad, I could barely hold the wheel. My arse was sore. When I got home, I cried, not because I was scared, but because it felt like I'd been opened up somehow, like he'd taken something. A few days later, I tried calling Rick. to ask what the hell happened. Number disconnected. The following week, someone sent me an anonymous Venmo payment, 800, emojis only, 3 drops of water. I checked my Instagram later that night and saw I'd been tagged in a post. It was a photo of me at the party, standing beside Diddy near the pool. But here's the thing. I don't remember ever getting that close to him, and in the photo, my eyes were completely black. In 2018, I was working as a house sitter in Connecticut. It was a decent gig, rich people who wanted someone to exist in their house while they were away. Usually a week or 2 at a time, water the plants, collect the mail, feed the cat if they had one, easy stuff. This particular house was just outside of New Canaan. Big, modern, and isolated. The kind of place with the motion sensor lights on a 300-foot driveway and security cameras built into every corner. I stayed there for 2 weeks while owners were at some event in the Hamptons. Everything was fine until the 6th night. I had just made dinner, poured a glass of wine, and started a Netflix show when I heard what sounded like footsteps coming from the basement. Not loud ones, just soft, deliberate movements, like bare feet on wood. I paused the TV and sat there for a second. The house was silent. I assumed it was the HVAC system or something echoing, but the sound happened again. Shuffle, pause, shuffle. I grabbed a kitchen knife and my phone, turned on the hallway lights, and went down. The basement lights were off, but the door was flipped cracked.
What?
The basement lights were off, but the door was cracked open. I pushed it with my foot and flipped the switch. Then I saw him. There was a man standing in the far corner of the basement, still, head tilted, no shoes. He was glistening like he had been dipped in oil. Not just a little shine, he was wet. His skin was reflecting the overhead lights, and his face. It looked like P. Diddy. I know how insane that sounds. I even whispered it to myself in that moment, like,
what the actual fuck?
He didn't move, he didn't blink. He just watched me and then said very slowly, "You invited me when you were 9. Do you remember that?" I dropped the knife. I couldn't.
Wait, when did you get a knife?
I grabbed a kitchen knife. I couldn't move. He started walking towards me, calm and slow, and the closer he got, the stronger the smell of baby oil became. Thick, sweet, almost fruity. I could see it dripping off his hands. I ran, got upstairs, slammed the door, locked it, and called 911. By the time they arrived, he was gone. No forced entry, no camera footage, no signs of a break-in, but in the basement near the wall, they found a baby-sized footprint made entirely of oil. Just one, nothing else. The owners came back a few days later and told me calmly that the house had experiences before, but never during the summer. They said Diddy was a kind of memory that gets loose sometimes. I never took another house-sitting gig again. I lived in Manhattan for 2 years after college. Worked in a midtown, long hours, little sleep, the usual finance life. I kept my head down, never got into drama, didn't party too much, just grinded and tried not to get noticed. In the winter of 2020, I started noticing a man standing across from my apartment building every night, always at the same time, 12:03 a.m. The first night I just saw a silhouette. Second night I could make out an outfit. White coat, white pants. Third night he looked directly up at my window and raised his head. It was P. Diddy. At first I assumed it was a look-alike, maybe a TikTok prank, but it kept happening every night. He never tried to come in, never said a word. One night I finally walked outside to confront him, but by the time I got there, he was gone. The next morning I found an envelope under my door. No postage, no markings, just my name in a black ink. Inside was a single photo. Me as a child holding a plastic microphone smiling. I had never seen that photo before. I don't even remember ever owning a toy mic like that. I called my mom and she said,
"Oh, I forgot about that. You used to say you were going to work with Puff Daddy or something someday. You were obsessed with him."
I haven't been obsessed with anyone ever, but she insisted. A week later, I saw him again, not outside, but in the lobby of my office building, wearing the same outfit, smiling. He didn't say a word, just watched as I passed by the glass doors. That night, I didn't sleep. Around 3 a.m., I checked my peephole and saw nothing. But when I opened the door, there was a sticky note taped to it. In perfect handwriting, it read, "You remembered me. That's enough." I moved back to the suburbs a month later. I still see white coats in crowds sometimes, and I don't listen to his music anymore. Not because I'm scared, because I don't need to.